Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Yardley, Pennsylvania, and today's Memorial Day celebration here nestled along the Delaware River in Yardley, Pennsylvania. You're watching this at WBCB, youtube.com/at WBCB 1490. I'm Bill Redner along with Brianne O'Neill. We'll have today's solemn ceremony, which we have done every year. It's an annual event at WBCB, and today's ceremony is being brought to you in part by Yardley Jewelers, 2 North Main Street in Yardley, open Wednesday through Saturday for complete jewelry repairs. Yardley Family Haircutters, Dave Wells, cuts for the entire family at 17 East Afton Avenue. Also, today's special ceremony is brought to you by Johnson Chiropractic, one-on-one fitness training. Call Rob Johnson, 267-614-4724. Nottingham Insurance, your independent insurance agent offering flood insurance. Give the people at Nottingham Insurance a phone call at 215-493-1996. By Yardley Service Center, 194 South Main Street. Family owned and operated, complete auto repairs and detailing. Yardley Pharmacy, 175 South Main Street. Brian Rogers, Yardley's hometown pharmacist at Yardley Pharmacy. Kramer's Bakery, 16 East Afton Avenue, baking things great since 1946. Everything baked on the premises. And by Vita Nova, design and build. Home remodeling taken to another level. Call them at 267-685-6334. We're very grateful for our sponsors for making today's ceremony possible. We ask you that you please, when you visit them, patronize them and stop in and say hello to them, because without their sponsorship, we wouldn't be able to be here today. Again, let's thank them all. Yardley Jewelers in the heart of Yardley. Stop in and get your jewelry repaired or at any time. They're open Wednesday through Saturday. And by Dave Wells at Yardley Family Haircutters. Let's join our ceremony right now from Yardley, Pennsylvania.
Welcome to the Yardley Memorial Day ceremony for 2025. I thank everybody for coming out today. Society likes to use the word hero. There are sports heroes, action heroes, and political heroes. But is there any group more deserving of the title than the more than 1 million men and women who have sacrificed their lives in defense of this nation? The true heroes are not the quarterbacks who successfully execute the Hail Mary passes or the baseball players who hit walk-off home runs. It isn't the Hollywood actor who's good-looking, dodging imaginary bullets and fake explosions. It is the military veteran, the police officer, the firefighter, and others who risk and far often to lose their lives protecting the lives and defending all of us. The heroes that we honor today are not exclusive to any gender or race. They come from all economic classes and backgrounds. They hail from all 50 states, and some are migrated from other countries. They are a diverse group that believe that America is a nation worth dying for. The heroes that I mentioned had earned prestigious awards and military decorations, but just like the soldiers known only to God, countless veterans have not been recognized for their bravery due to the lack of surviving witnesses who could document their final acts. They are no less heroic. We are gathered so that we can remember their sacrifices and celebrate the fact that throughout this nation and history, this country produces such men and women of honor. We must never forget them. My comrades and I thank Yardley Mayor Chris Hardy, Borough Manager Paula Johnson, Sergeant William Golden, and Emergency Commander Wes Foraker for their welcome and support. We also like to thank the members of American Legion Post 317 and VFW Post 6393. The VFW and American Legion Auxiliary units led respectively by Sandy Johnson and Deanna Frisia. The Guardians of the Washington Crossing National Cemetery, honor led by Robert Craven. Members of the New Jersey Civil Air Patrol led by Major Mary Beth Williams and Second Lieutenant Robert McSellen. Members and the Pennsbury Junior Air Force ROTC led by United States Air Force retired Major James McUrchin. Distinguished guests joining us today include the Reverend Dr. Douglas Hoagland, our keynote speaker, United States Army Specialist Michelle Rivera, Yardley Mayor Chris Harding, Yardley Manager Paula Johnson, and any attending Borough Council members. Lower Makefield Township and Lower Makefield Township Supervisors. It is now my pleasure to invite Reverend Hoagland from Woodside Presbyterian Church to present the opening prayer. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Reverend Douglas Hoagland.
Will you join me in a word of prayer? God of all nations, we gather today to honor the great men and women who selflessly answered the call of our country and the cause of liberty. We pause to remember and give thanks for those who fought unrelenting opponents, endured unimaginable suffering, faced unbelievable dangers, and gave the ultimate sacrifice. They paid the price for our freedom. We can never repay the gift they so freely gave. We are thankful for the veterans who returned home from the battle and once again took up their lives in peace among the embrace of their families and this community. Yet the faces of the comrades they lost will never leave them, and for many, the scars of war still run deep below what the rest of us can see or understand. Touch them with your healing, Lord. Fill them with your hope. Let the peace they fought so hard to achieve find a resting place in their hearts. We pray this in your strong name, O Lord. Amen.
Begin our ceremony with all of you able to do so. Please rise, face the flag of our nation, present a proper salute, and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Joining us now is today's singer, Marge Swider. Marge is a vocalist and stage entertainer. She has been part of our ceremony since 2010. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Marge Swider.
Oh, see, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright
Thank you, Mrs. Swider. Joining us next is Yardley Mayor Chris Hardy to express his thoughts about Memorial Day. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mayor Hardy.
Commander, members of the American Legion, members of the VFW, veterans, emergency service providers, Yardley Borough residents, friends, family, and honored guests. As always, I am grateful for the opportunity to speak before you. Today we gather at this solemn monument, not only to mark Memorial Day, but also, for me, to mark a personal moment of reflection. For this is the final Memorial Day that I will have the honor of standing before you as Mayor of Yardley Borough. Of all the duties and privileges that have come with this office, none has meant more to me than this moment. This tradition of remembrance each Memorial Day. Year after year, I have stood here with a heavy heart and a grateful spirit, striving to give voice to the gratitude we all feel but sometimes struggle to express. And I will carry these moments forever with me. From my very first Memorial Day speech, I admitted a simple truth. I have never served in the military. Unlike some of Yardley's past mayors, Mayor Johnson in the Coast Guard, Mayor Robinson and Mayor Sinberg in the Army, I do not wear the badge of service. I have not stood post on foreign soil, nor flown into danger under our flag. But perhaps that's why I felt so compelled to stand here and speak each year. Because what I lack in service, I have tried to make up for in remembrance. With this microphone in front of me, and our community before me, I've been given the sacred opportunity to say clearly and sincerely, thank you. Thank you to more than 41 million Americans who have worn our nation's uniform, and especially today to the over 1 million who never came home. And yet, we know that numbers alone can never tell the full story. The men and women we honor are not statistics. They are sons and daughters, husbands and wives, friends, neighbors, classmates. They are ours, and they gave everything. I remember sharing the tragic story of Captain Sean Ruan, a decorated combat rescue pilot who led daring missions in Iraq and Afghanistan under the sacred motto that others may live. He gave his life in a training accident in England, far from home, but never far from our hearts. His story, like so many others, reminds us that heroism is not always found on the battlefield, but in every act of quiet sacrifice and humble service. And I remember the father who once told a young carry-the-load walker something that has haunted and guided me ever since. Our children don't just die once. They can die twice. Once when they take their last breath, and again when people stop remembering them. That's why we gather. Not just to mark this day, but to ensure that no hero ever dies twice. For the past 12 years, Yardley has partnered with Carry the Load in the effort to restore the true meaning of Memorial Day. We've walked with them miles and miles, packs on our backs, shoulders aching, feet burning. One of the most powerful experiences of my life was walking from Washington Crossing to Independence Hall. 38 miles, 15 hours, 22-pound packs on our backs, honoring and giving voice to the estimated 22 veterans who tragically take their lives each day. Was it hard? Yes. but nothing compared to what our fallen have endured. We walked for them, and we will walk again because of them. And still, we recognize that remembering is not just an event, it's a promise. I've confessed before, by the end of Memorial Day, I've sometimes found myself at a barbecue or grabbing an afternoon nap. That's why in 2016, I wrote "Today Remember" on my hand, a small act of commitment to hold these veterans with me throughout the day. I invited you to do the same, and many of you did. And I will do it again today, because Memorial Day is about sacrifice, memory, family. Yes, family, in every sense of the word. Biological families, work families, and most profoundly, the family of our military community, those who served, those still serving, and those who made the ultimate sacrifice. When a service member dies, it's not just a name etched in stone. It's a void left in the lives of all that knew them. And it is our duty, our honor, to keep their memory alive. A friend of mine, a pilot in the United States Air Force, once shared 3 lessons that I am confident every service member knows. First, someone is always watching, so act with integrity and intention. Second, if something goes wrong, it's your fault, because accountability matters. And third, if something goes right, it's never just because of you, because every victory is shared. These aren't just lessons for our military, they are lessons for all of us as citizens, neighbors, and leaders. This morning, we stood in silence as our veterans performed rifle salutes to honor their dead. Later today, we'll line the streets and cheer along the parade route. And while we celebrate these traditions, we must never forget that they are also promises. Promises to remember, to reflect, to teach, and to honor. As your mayor, I've tried to uphold that promise. And now, as I prepare to pass this role on, I ask that each of you carry it forward. Speak their names. Tell their stories. Teach your children not just what freedom is, but what it costs. Because they fought, battled, suffered, and died so that we may live. And so we walk, we speak, we remember, so they are never forgotten. To every soul who has served, and especially to those who gave their lives, thank you. To their families, we will always remember. And to this beautiful borough of Yardley, thank you for allowing me to be your voice of remembrance. It has been the greatest honor of my service. May God bless the fallen, may He comfort those left behind, and may He continue to bless this great nation.
Thank you, Mayor Hardin. At this time, I'd like to welcome Commander Kirk Sabota of VFW Post 6393 to express his opinion on today. Commander?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Good. Good morning. On behalf of the Post, I want to thank you for being here. Memorial Day isn't just a long weekend to kick off the summer. It's about remembering those who gave everything so we could stand here free and together. We gather today just not as individuals, but as a community, because sacrifice never stops at one doorstep. It reaches across families, across streets, communities, and even across generations. right here in Pennsylvania, one of the original states, in a town of old towns with tall trees, morning coffees, and American flags on many front porches. We carry our share of the weight. Our community, our state has sent its sons and daughters to every corner of this world in service. And like so many states, not all of them came home. For instance, Staff Sergeant Kimberly Bowles, Carlisle, Pennsylvania. Kimberly was an explosive ordnance disposal technician. Her job was to clear explosives to protect other soldiers. In December of 2003, while disarming an IED in Iraq, she was critically wounded, and she died hours later with her husband, who was also a soldier in Iraq, by her side. On September 28, 2005, during those pitched battles in Ramadi that raged between 2003 to 2006, 5 fellow Pennsylvanians were killed when a single indirect fire destroyed their Bradley fighting vehicle. A single vehicle in a single day in a war that spanned decades. In a war that took thousands of souls and affected countless communities. But for Pennsylvania, it was the largest single day of loss of life during the entire global terrorism war. Sergeant First Class George Pugliese, 39, from Carbondale, Pennsylvania. Staff Sergeant David Arnold, 27, from Montrose, Pennsylvania. Specialist Lee Weigland, 20 years old, from Halstead, Pennsylvania. Specialist Oliver Brown, 19 years old, from Athens, Pennsylvania. And Sergeant Eric Slobodnik, 21 years old, from Greenfield Township. These are young men and women filled with hope and passion and a love for their comrades, for their nation, and their community. I want to share with you a poem that one of these men penned. Sergeant Eric Slobodnik wrote, "I will fight for you, in the mountains high and the deserts hot, or the alleys narrow, I will fight for you. When you sleep in your bed, when you watch the TV, when you laugh quietly in church, I will fire my weapon. I will sweat and I will bleed, and I will pray for home, and I will fight for you. Though many oppose me, saying, support our troops, but denying my mission, freedom is still not free. I will fight for you. When you work in an office, when you watch the birds, when you cut the grass, spot the planes, I will fight for you. When you work your craft, when you take your pictures, cook their meals, and read before bed, I will fight for you. When you go to school, later when you play your guitar, when you write your stories and listen to your tunes, I will fight for you. For your liberty and your lives, for your homes and your friends, for the Constitution, for our faith, I will fight for you. Eric Slobodnik. This is what real sacrifice looks like. It doesn't come with fanfare. It seldom comes without fear. It's quiet, it's final, and it's real. Only 5 out of every 100 Americans have worn the uniform, but many more have felt the cost. The empty chair at the table, the silence after a knock at the door, the folded flag handed to a mother who never wanted it. So today I'm asking you not to just remember the fallen. I'm asking you to carry them. Carry their stories, say their names, remind the next generation that freedom has a cost. Let's honor the sacrifice the right way, not just with speeches, but with action. Support those veterans who have come home. Check in on military families in our community. Teach your kids what today is really about, and build a town, a nation, worthy of the people who gave their lives for it. Today is solemn, yes, but it is also powerful, because here we are, free, together. Thanks to the brave few who gave up everything so we could have this. Let us never forget them. Thank you. And may God bless the United States of America.
Thank you, Commander Sabota. At this time, it is my honor to introduce today's keynote speaker, United States Army Specialist Michelle Lynette Rivera. Specialist Rivera is an Iraq war veteran serving our nation's team 2002 and 2009 in reserve unit duty with the 223rd Transportation Company in Norristown, PA, and on active duty when the unit was mobilized and deployed to forward operating base Takeda, thank you, in Iraq from 2004 to 2005. Specialist Rivera served as a truck driver supplying fuel to the Marines during the 2nd Battalion of Fallujah, Operation Phantom Fury. During the Second Battle of Fallujah, Operation Vigilant Resolve and Operation Phantom Fury, U.S. forces suffered 151 dead and more than 1,000 wounded. Upon returning to the States, Specialist Rivera worked as a human resource specialist at an Army Reserve Institution training unit in Pasadena, California. Specialist Rivera is a third-generation Army veteran. Her grandfather served during World War II. Her father served as an Army medic during Vietnam. After her time in service, Specialist Rivera earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in English in 2021, and a Master of Fine Arts degree in Creative Writing in 2023, both from California State University's Long Branch. Michelle now teaches and tutors English at the college level. She has taught and tutored English at California State University in Long Beach, El Camino College in Torrance, California, and recently has begun working as a writing tutor in the Academic Success Center at the Bucks County Community Center. She has also worked as a learning and organizational development specialist at the University of Southern California. For her time in service to our nation, Specialist Rivera was awarded the Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, the National Defense Service Medal, the Iraq Campaign Medal, the Army Achievement Medal, the Armed Forces Reserve Medal with M device, and the Army Service Ribbon. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming United States Army Specialist Michelle Rivera.
Thank you, Ted. Thank you for that lovely introduction. I'll pull my speech up here on my phone and just pray that technology doesn't fail me today. Okay, so I had no idea what the mayor was going to say today or what Kirk was going to say, but there are echoes of it in my speech, so this will follow nicely. So if you'll just indulge me for a moment, I'm going to start with a moment of humility and gratitude and just admit to you that, first of all, when I was initially invited to speak at this Memorial Day ceremony, of course I was privileged and honored and just happy to be offered a chance to speak at an opportunity, at an important event that is something that I feel so deeply connected to. I knew exactly whom I would speak about and what I was going to say. The speech was basically writing itself from the first moment I was invited. But then the organizers asked me to start telling them a little bit about myself, and all of a sudden I got insecure. I started worrying that I didn't belong up here because I wasn't a high-ranking officer in the military, or that my job wasn't important enough, or whatever. And as I sort of spiraled out about that, Kirk could hear my insecurities coming through and my hesitation to commit to the event, and he brought me back down to earth by offering me some encouraging words. He reminded me that all of that stuff that I was getting in my head about really doesn't matter. That my job, that all of our jobs in the military were critically important to the overall mission. And it was basically a reminder not to diminish my service. What really matters today is my connection to Memorial Day. And so I had to get out of my own head and get over myself and remember that this isn't about me. I'm not up here today representing myself. What matters is who I'm up here to represent, who we're all standing up here to represent, and we're here to represent the people who can't be here for themselves. We're here to give voices to the voiceless. The mayor mentioned something that I wanted to speak about too, that idea of a person dying two deaths. The first death being a physical death, as he said, and the second death, they say, is the last time that person's name is spoken. So we need to keep saying the names of the people that we want to keep alive. And I think that the meaning of Memorial Day is lost on a lot of people because maybe they don't have names in their mind to say that are relevant to Memorial Day. It's easy to lose the meaning. It's easy to lose the meaning of Memorial Day and take it for granted when it doesn't hit close enough to home, when you don't have names or faces to attach to the meaning. So I'm going to share a few names in hopes of humanizing and personalizing Memorial Day and bringing it back to and making it about specific people rather than letting it be some abstract thing or just some time marker to kick off pool season. I'm going to give you three names of people that I think about often, but especially today. Private First Class Louis Perez, Staff Sergeant James Petaway, and Reuben Ray Miller. And I'll tell you in a little bit why that last person doesn't have a rank, but first, let me tell you about Perez and Petaway. When the 223rd Transportation Company in Norristown was called up to deploy to Iraq in 2004, we didn't have enough people because about 6 months or so prior, the majority of our soldiers had been transferred out to help fill necessary positions in other units that were deploying first. When our number had finally been called, soldiers were transferred into our unit from all over the East Coast to fill our vacancies. Two of those people were Perez, transferred in from New York, and Petaway, transferred in from Maryland. Perez was 18 years old and basically fresh out of boot camp. Before we shipped out to the Middle East, we had one more leave to spend with friends and family before our year-long deployment, and Perez took that opportunity to quickly marry his high school sweetheart, Molly. This was Petaway's second deployment. Petaway was 37 years old and he had an 11-year-old son. We left Norristown and headed to Fort Drum, New York, and from Fort Drum we flew into Kuwait and awaited our trucks and other gear to meet us there. Eventually we drove from Kuwait to Iraq to the base that we would be stationed at for the deployment, and Perez and Petaway would never make it to the base. On one of those first missions heading north in late August, there was an incident in one of our convoys, and PFC Perez was killed in a truck explosion. Staff Sergeant Petaway made it out of the truck and was medically evacuated out of the area and eventually back to the States, but over the next few months he would endure several surgeries that ultimately failed to save his life. He succumbed to his injuries at Brooke Army Medical Center. Perez's young wife had become a widow, and Petaway's young son had lost his father, and the company had lost two brothers in arms. For the next several months, our unit endured numerous mortar attacks, convoys drove over IEDs, and took small arms fire, but we managed not to lose any more lives. Then in May of 2005, we knew we were getting close to the end of our deployment and getting ready to head home, and we were just trying to make it back alive without any more casualties, when we were sent out on a mission over one of the most dangerous routes in Iraq at the time. One of our trucks hit an IED, and the driver was killed. He was an American civilian named Reuben Ray Miller. He was a contractor for KBR. It was the only mission I'd been on with Miller, so I didn't know much about him. I later found out that he was an uncle, a Harley rider, and his friends and family affectionately referred to him as Scooter. So though today is about those that made the ultimate sacrifice while serving in our nation's military, and Miller was a civilian, I still honor him today because he was out there serving his country that day right alongside us in basically the same way. I'll never understand how I made it back, and they didn't. Survivor's guilt is a devastating feeling that too many veterans struggle with daily. Many veterans can't or just won't talk about it. Sometimes the best thing you can do for a veteran struggling with survivor's guilt, PTSD, or other health issues is just simply to be there for them. Check in, say hello, let them know they're not alone just by being there. And help us keep the memories alive of those that we lost. And for me, today, it's PFC Louis Perez, Staff Sergeant James Petaway, and Reuben Ray Miller. Let this not be the last time those names are ever spoken. Thank you.
At this time, I have a couple awards here from Perry Warren, Pennsylvania's 1st District. This is a Commonwealth of Pennsylvania House of Representatives certificate. Present to you. And from Congress, from Brian Fitzpatrick, we have a flag flown over the Capitol for you. Flag. Thank you. At this time, I am now proud to introduce the valued member of our community, Ms. Martha Houston. Martha is the wife of retired Navy Chief Petty Officer Keith Houston. She is the best friend for over 40 years of VFW Auxiliary President Sandy Johnson. Martha will read First World War poem by Canadian Doctor Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae in Flanders Field and introduce today's Poppy Queens. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Martha Houston.
Oh, you took the stress off.
In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks, bravely singing, still fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved, were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you, from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce this year's Poppy Queens. Representing American Legion Post 317 is Charlotte Carter. Charlotte is a 5th grade student at Quarry Hill Elementary School. She's on the Math Olympiad team and a member of the school's band. A nominee for Pennsbury Lift Character Award, Charlotte aided in the creation of Quarry Hill's Homeless Helpers Committee, which collected over 800 items for Pennsbury Food Pantry and the Salvation Army. In her spare time, Charlotte has started a business called Kids Can Create, plays softball with Pennsbury Athletic Association, and is a Girl Scout Junior with the Sandy Run Unit. Charlotte is the granddaughter of Pat and Marine veteran Rick Carver, and the great niece of Navy veteran and American Legion Post 317's first Vice Commander Candace Carver. Escorting Charlotte to Monument is Auxiliary President Diana Frisco. Representing VFW Post 6393 is 8-year-old Elena Cummings. Elena is a 2nd grade student at Belsington Elementary School and the recipient of the Paul Pride Award for her kindness and dedication to helping others. Elena's pastime activities include singing, dancing, horseback riding, and trampoline exercises. Elena is the granddaughter of VFW 6393's Auxiliary President Sandy Johnson and Senior Vice Commander Joshua Johnson, and the daughter of Isabel Cummings. Escorting Elena to the monument is Auxiliary President Sandy Johnson. Please join me in applauding these wonderful young ladies.
Our flag is positioned at half-mast. Commander Sabota and I will raise the flag, then lower the flag again, lower the flag. We raise the flag and salute those we honor. We lower the flag again as a signal to continue our reverence. Commander? Firing squad, please salute our deck. Everyone, thank you for being here. God bless you. God bless America. This concludes our ceremony today. Please attend our Memorial Day parade that starts at 11 on Main Street.
Speaking with him in a few seconds, in a few moments. Today's Yardley ceremony has been brought to you by Yardley Jewelers, 2 North Main Street, here in Yardley, open Wednesday through Saturday. Yardley Family Haircutters, Dave Wells, cuts for the entire family, and the Johnson Chiropractic Center at 101 at one-on-one fitness training, and of course by Nottingham Insurance, your independent insurance agent offering flood insurance, by Yardley Service Center at 194 South Main Street in Yardley, also by Yardley Pharmacy, Kramer's Bakery, and Vita Nova Design and Build. We have with us now our Mayor of Yardley, Chris Harding. And Chris, a speech that was absolutely just reflective of the day from your heart, and it meant so much to this community to have you as mayor for the last 8 years, and you've been an asset to this community, and today, very well-spoken words.
Well, I appreciate that. You're going to make me emotional before we even start talking, so it's tough. This has always been a very special day for me as with my role as mayor. As I said in my speech, I have no military service. My father was in the Marine Corps. I had an uncle in the Army, but myself, I never served. So to be able to stand with our veterans up front by the podium and speak about those who made the ultimate sacrifice is just such an absolute honor that I wanted to try to do it justice today, and I hope I did.
You certainly did do it justice, and as the last 8 years, you mentioned that this is probably the highlight of your term as Yardley mayor for the last 8 years is the Memorial Day ceremonies.
Yes, Memorial Day, the community always comes out. We've, with Memorial Day and Veterans Day and the Carry the Load events that we do that we work with WBCB, Yardley Borough always supports, and that's a beautiful thing. The things that we do, the rifle salutes this morning are so solemn, to the speeches this afternoon, to the parade when we celebrate, and again, as we said, celebrating and barbecues, all very fitting, and obviously the unofficial kickoff to the summer. But it is so important to take that moment, to take that time, and really recognize what this day is about. So we hope we give our borough residents the opportunity to do that.
And of course, this is just the beginning, because at 11 o'clock this morning, you have the parade. The parade route starts where?
The parade route starts this year. We moved it a little bit closer, so it starts right around Lincoln in the borough. Yeah.
Okay, and there'll be many floats, I guess. And
yeah, all the great activities. Yardley Borough has become very well known for its Memorial Day parade, so we are so excited to bring that to the community.
Well, Mayor, again, just a great speech. And
thank you.
As I said, you have been an asset, and just because you're not going to be mayor next year, we hope you will still be here in Yardley at the Memorial Day ceremony, because as tradition has it, you are part of that tradition.
Well, thank you, and I look forward to attending next year's Memorial Day ceremony as a non-mayor civilian resident of Yardley Borough. It'll be an honor.
Okay, Mayor, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Mayor
guys.
Chris Harding, and thank you folks for joining us here. You'll be able to go back and watch this event at youtube.com/WBCB 1490. Again, we'll repeat youtube.com/WBCB 1490. Again, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Yardley Jewelers, Yardley Family Hair Cutters, the Johnson Chiropractic Center, still in Yardley, folks. Give Rob a call at 267-614-4724 for one-on-one fitness training. By Nottingham Insurance, your independent insurance agent offering flood insurance. Also by the Yardley Service Center, Yardley's premier service center. I'm telling you, they do everything for your car, from complete auto repairs to detailing. Yardley Pharmacy, Brian Rogers, we'd like to thank. Yardley's hometown pharmacist, by the Kramer family. Tommy and John Kramer down there at 16 East Afton Avenue in Yardley since 1946, baking delicacies in Yardley. And by Vita Nova, design and build home remodeling second to none. Give them a call at 267-685-6334. Like to thank Brianne O'Neill, WBCB Technical Director and Operations Manager, for her efforts here today in producing this solemn Yardley ceremony that we are so honored to video stream. I'm Bill Redner, and we hope you enjoy your Memorial Day. Thank you for watching.